Good morning. Today's a special episode. Today I'm going to be doing a wheel hub exchange on both the front left and front right wheels. The wheel hub bearings are shot, and I'm going to attempt to do this myself. But first, I'd like to shout out and send a thank you to Factory Gear in Kashiwa off of Route 16 for all their great help with helping me find the right tools and just really nice customer service and cool tools. Great shop. Check it out. It's Route 16 in Kashiwa. You can't miss it. It's right next to Super Autobacks. Okay. Also, I want to say thank you to Nestor Auto Repair. That's a YouTube channel, Nestor Auto Repair. He made a video on how to change the hub bearings on an e-NV200, and it was very inspirational, and it really gave me the confidence to do this myself. So thanks again, Nestor Auto Repair, for that awesome video, and I'll try to do you service by doing a good job on this video. Okay. All right, first let's go over the tools you're going to need for this job. First thing you're going to need, of course, is a jack. You need a jack, and if possible, you have them. Jack stands would be great for extra help. I don't have the jack stands, but I have this jack, and then I also bought these to go underneath the wheels to help lock the wheels in, because you can never trust emergency brakes that well. So hopefully that'll be enough. I am on a bit of it's a bit of a slope, going this direction, going that direction. So yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I pulled it out to the middle street as much as possible. So that's why my wife is here helping me. We have barricades for safety. Hopefully I won't get hit. I'm out in the middle of the street pretty much. All right, next, a hammer or a mallet. I found this really great little hammer. It's a shockless hammer, so it has a little sand in it. Let's see if I can make the noise. A baby's rattle, but it makes it so it doesn't hurt your hands too much for pounding. It's a nice weight, so it should help a lot for pounding on the hub to get it off. Okay, and next is a pry bar. You need a pry bar or a crowbar, because we're going to need to use that for locking in the bolts, the hub bolts, so I can remove the center nut, the axle nut, later on. Also, a rather large socket wrench would be good. I don't have one. I have just a small one. But a rather large one and a small one would be best, but we're going to make do with what we got. An extension for the socket. That'd be right here. Extension. Let's see. I have this all written down so I don't sound like an idiot. Let's see. And also a braking bar. That's what this is. This is a braking bar for the tough bolts. It gives you extra leverage. It should be able to do it, because I'm not using any power tools. This is all going to be by hand today, because it's so easy, I think. Besides, if I bought power tools, this would not have been a very affordable repair. Needle nose pliers for taking off the cotter pin, but I notice a lot of mechanics use these, so these will work just as well. Let's see, a good work light. I'm going to put this underneath the car. My car is electric. It's got an inverter, so what the heck? I thought, why not use this big bad boy, so I can give you good lighting, so you can see really well what I'm doing. So a good work light would be good. Let's see here. Brake cleaner would be good. You can't touch the rotor with your hands or get any grease on it, so you need a brake cleaner, because you're going to remove the rotor. So when you put it back on, you're going to want to clean it up again, otherwise your brakes will squeak. Also a lubricant of some sort, like a WD-40. I have this stuff here, this red can, and that's for like the tough bolts. If anything's like not coming off easily, I use that. Axle grease of some sort. Dude, this country doesn't have axle grease, but I found a tube of some kind of grease. I don't know what the grease is, but it'll work. So we're going to use that later on. And shop towels would be good. Okay, and that's everything. And then I'll show you the hubs in a second. All right, let's go over the sockets we're going to need to go with this set. Okay, I went over the tools. I also forgot the gloves. You're going to need some kind of work gloves. I'm going to use these, but if you don't have the access to those, these kind of gloves will work just fine. I like a little more. I like to be able to feel the things a little better, so I'm going to use these. So yeah, we're going to need that. Also a hook. You want to use a hook for when you take the calipers off. You're going to want to hang them up. You don't want them hanging off the brake line. You'll just destroy the brake line, damage it. So use a hook to hold them up while you're working. Hold your calipers up. Okay. Other parts you're going to need. We'll go over that in a second. Let's go over the sockets we're going to go through. So first one's a 10 millimeter socket. I'm going to start from smallest to largest. It's not in the order we're working, but this one is going to be for removing, right here. This one's going to be for removing the ABS sensor. So we need a 10 millimeter for that. This is a 14 millimeter. This one's kind of optional, it looks like. I did a lot of homework, and a lot of guys don't do what Nestor Auto Repair did. Nestor Auto Repair, what they did is he took the brake calipers off, and then he took the bracket that holds the calipers. He took that off separately. A lot of people just skip the calipers and go right to the bracket. And the bracket is on this car a 17 millimeter. So you need a 17 millimeter to remove the bracket. If you want to get, if you want to be really thorough, you can use the 14 and take off the calipers off the bracket first. And then you're going to need, I believe this is a 19. This is a 19. You need a 19 for the actual, the hub bearing bolts, I believe. Hang on. I think I got it mixed up. Hang on, guys. I'm going to do this real time. I got it wrong. Sorry, guys. So let's go back. 17 is not for the caliper bracket. 17 is for the hub bearings. The 19 is for the caliper brackets. So if you want to if you don't want to take use the 14, take the calipers off the bracket and then remove the bracket, you can skip 14, go right to the 19. The 19 millimeter will take the caliper bracket off and the calipers all together off the knuckle. This is what you need for removing the bolts to the wheel bearing hub, to the bearing hub. Okay, 17 millimeter for that. I also have longer ones, kind of extensions, if I need to use these. And you also need a 21. The 21 is for your lug nuts. So you need a 21 millimeter for your lug nuts. Take the tires off. And then the last one you need is the biggest one. I believe it's a 32. A 32 millimeter, that's for your axle nut, the center nut in the middle, okay? So that's what you need for your nuts. That's it. That's all you need for sockets. I'm gonna have to interject here because unbeknownst to me at the time, I did not have the correct bolt size for the wheel bearing hub, the wheel hub. I looked all over. It's not anybody's fault. It's not my fault. I looked all over the internet. I watched a lot of how-to videos. There are no videos really out there for the e-NV. That's why I want to make this. But basically because it's a NV, the base is an NV, most people probably figure they can just watch the NV200 videos. But it turns out the NV200's wheel hubs use 17-inch bolts, and the e-NV uses 16 millimeter bolts for the hub bearings. So... yeah, I don't even have a 16 millimeter socket because I've bought 2 or 3 socket sets since I've been over here, and in the sets that never comes, they skip the 16 millimeter. They sometimes skip the 15, but they always have 17 and 19 and 21, or not 21, 17, 19, 14 is always available. 16 gets skipped in the sets. If you want a 16 over here, you have to buy it individually, which is easy to do, but when I was buying my sockets that I needed specifically for this car, like the 32 and the 21, things like that, I wasn't aware I needed a 16, so I didn't pick one up. And so that leads to a cascade of events. It goes down, the video is going to go south pretty quick, and I apologize for that in advance. And things out of my control happen because I don't have a 16 millimeter socket. And so, long story short, I wasn't able to complete the job myself. I called the garage. I called the people that sold me the car. They have a garage. They're mainly a garage, and then on the side they sell cars. And I asked them if I could not borrow their tools at the time. I didn't know about the 16 millimeter fiasco, but I asked if I could borrow their lift. I wanted to get a better look. I absolutely could not see the bolt where I was coming from the angle I was at, and all I knew was the thing kept turning, so I thought somebody, either me or somebody before me, stripped that bolt, and I was like really freaking out. I melted down a bit because I'm trying to make a how-to video for you guys. I wanted to make a really good one. That's just it's just the Delta in me. I've got a Delta personality. I like perfection, and I have everything always. I have things written down. I had a paper all with all the writing on it, with all the torque specs on it and all the bolt specs on it, and the tools. I had it all laid out. I wanted to make this as simple and understandable and perfect as possible, and unfortunately it just fell apart, unbeknownst to me. So I want to apologize for that in advance. I do manage to kind of salvage it at the end, but once again, I still don't have a 16mm socket of my own, and so I couldn't reverse everything. I want to shout out to the people that sold me the van, because at first they did use my tools. At least the tools I bought for this project, they did use them, so it wasn't a complete waste of money buying those tools. So that was cool. And I want to shout out to them for just being so kind and doing it. They felt really terrible in a way that I was doing it on my own. They thought they should do it because this car is under warranty. So I shout out to them for doing it. They apologized. They knew I wanted to do it really bad. They knew I wanted to make a video, and they wouldn't let me record on site even when I was helping and stuff. But yeah. Also, just to let you guys know, I was watching, and those bolts that connect to the wheel hub bearing, they're on there pretty tight, but they were just used hand tools, and they were able to get those things off pretty quickly with the right socket, 16mm socket. Those things will come off. And on this car, the hubs did not need anything. Once they took those bolts out, the hubs just came right off. So it was going to be an easy project if I had the right tools. I really strongly recommend not just a 16mm bolt, obviously, for the e-NV, but a swivel head ratchet, because if you can't lift the car above your head, you're going to be doing it in the wheel well territory. So you need something you can get outside the wheel well so you can torque it, move it. So I really recommend one of those ratchets. They're about $200. If they're Snap-on, you might be able to find a little bit better deal in your area if it's not Snap-on. Okay, and let's return to the video. All right, this is the wheel bearing hub. These are the bolts that your wheel goes onto. Okay, and this is the 19-inch. This is where the 19mm bolts go to hold it onto the knuckle of the car. The thing is, this is made out of steel, and the knuckle's aluminum. And so when you put these things together, steel and aluminum, it's corrosive. And so they pretty much almost like adhere, it's like a glue almost. And so you take the bolts out, and this thing still won't come off. You're gonna have to pound the crap out of this thing to get the bolts to come out. We'll go over that later. I don't know how bad it's gonna be. Might be relatively easy because this car is not that old, but might be pretty tricky too at the same time. So when we put it on again, that's why we have this grease. That's why I got the grease. So when we put it on again, I'm gonna put a little grease all around the contact areas, here and here, just to try to keep it from being so difficult next time. Because I think I found the mystery to why the wheel bearing hubs go bad on e-NVs and NV200s so soon. These parts came from Mexico. Yeah, I looked at the package and it said hecho en Mexico. So yeah, it's made in Mexico, but it's not a huge deal. But I did have a Chrysler PT Cruiser, and those were made in Mexico, and they're not. Yeah, it's not the most well-built thing. So that's probably what the problem is. These aren't made in Japan or even China. They're made in Mexico. So yeah, it is what it is. So I'll probably have to be doing this. If I hold on to the van for a long time, I'm going to be doing this again probably. So that's why I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible for the next time when I take them off. Right here, you see this little groove here? That's where the ABS sensor is going to go. So we have to, before we pull this out, we got to remove the ABS sensor. If we don't, we'll break the ABS sensor, and that can be expensive to repair. All right. Also, you're going to need a cotter pin. They always recommend when you take the old cotter pin off to have a new cotter pin. So you're gonna need a new cotter pin. These things you don't need. The dealership tried to sell me all the parts. They even tried to sell me the axle nut, and it's like over $10 for one axle nut. I was like, no, thank you. I have an axle nut. They were trying to sell everything, including a washer and that little cap that goes over the axle nut. You really don't need these, but I got these because they were cheap. Like a couple bucks for these things, so it's like, fine, I'll take those. But I'm not buying the axle nut. So there you go. All right, let's see. Did I go over everything? Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is parts alone. these parts alone for the car were $300, $150 per side roughly. So it's $300 for the parts. They wanted $500 for the labor. They said it was going to take them, professionals, at a professional garage with all the professional power tools and everything, 4 hours to do this car. And they were charging me $500 on labor. I disagree wholeheartedly. It would take them near that long. These guys are professionals. They do it all the time. Probably would take them, even with this, because they have hub pullers and everything. So even with a tough wheel, I wouldn't say more than 30 minutes per wheel if it's a really bad hub. If it's not a bad hub, 15, 20 minutes a wheel, really, for these guys. They can go really fast, I'm sure of it. So they were charging 4 hours on labor, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I bought the parts, and I feel like even with the hand tools, I'm not using any power tools, and I've never done this in my life. I've never done anything like this before. I feel confident I can still do this within an hour and a half by myself. I'm going to try. And you're going to be with me all along the way. We're going to do it pretty much real time. Except for now. I am going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to get set up. And next time you see, the van's going to be jacked up, and the light's going to be on and everything, so I'll see you in a few. All right, normally you wouldn't leave your car running when you're doing this, but since this car's electric, I can leave it on. And with me, you don't really need it on to use the inverter, but I might want to turn the wheel so I can reach the nuts better. So I'm going to leave it on so I can turn the wheel. To activate the inverter, I'm going to push the AC on button down here. And then you can see the icon for AC on is on over here. And it gives me, I've set it up so the battery can't go below these bars on the top. You see the bottom bars, then on above you have 2 red and 2 white bars above it. I set up for that, so it can't go below that. It'll stop and it hits there, okay? So we're gonna see, you can set it for anything. I'm not gonna use near that much power just for a light, but that's, I'm just showing you. All right. So before, I have it partially jacked up. The jack is partially up, but I didn't put it all the way up yet because before we put it all the way up, we have to loosen the bolts, obviously, on the tire. So I'm gonna use my braking bar and my 21-inch socket to loosen the bolts. Lefty loosey. There we go. Well, these braking bars are awesome. So much leverage. It's so easy. Very easy. Not a problem at all. Yeah, that's on purpose. It's long so it gives you leverage. And then once they're loose enough, where you can do it by hand. Just loosen them, take them off by hand. There you go. I have a tray. You don't need it, but I have it. Little magnetic tray holds your stuff so you don't lose anything. By the way, I got that braking bar, that nice braking bar for leverage. I got that at the auto parts store I was telling you, or the tool shop I was telling you about in Kashiwa. I got a really good deal on it. It's Japanese made, so I think the quality's there. They specialize, actually, oops, I missed one bolt. They specialize in a tool company from Thailand, and those are really nice tools too. They were so nice that actually a little more than this one was. They had a braking bar as well, but just a little bit more than this. It was probably better quality. It had a nice warranty on it compared to this thing, but I'm trying to stay on budget. I didn't want to go over $100 for all the tools I needed. I found out when I started investigating, I have a lot less tools than I thought. So I did go a little over budget, but not too bad. The jack was the thing I thought was going to set me back the worst, but I found this on sale for 35 bucks. Like I said, it's not the greatest jack, but it'll work for this purpose. So that with the jack being that price, that did make the braking bar one of my more expensive tools. Braking bar was 5,000 yen, 50 bucks. But really, really nice to have. So I would not complain about that. Oh, and then I gotta jack it up though. Now they got them off, we can pop the car up, take the wheel off.
Scary.
Yeah, it's starting to roll, like I was afraid of. I'm on a bit of a, see it moving? It's gonna be a little scary. Yeah. Even though the other tire is on the ground, the other side, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. All right, here we go.
Ooh.
Now I'm gonna take this out so I don't bump into it. I don't wanna blow it out of my head. Another thing a lot of mechanics do is they put the wheel underneath just in case. Just in case the thing does start to fall or something, this thing will keep it from landing 100% on me. So I'm gonna do the same thing. There we go. That'll protect me to a point.
Aggressive.
Game on.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So let's see. So lug nuts are over here.
Oh, no video. No?
Yeah, keep going. Keep
I
going.
don't want to get too close. I don't want to be in your way.
All right. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my 19 now. I'm gonna try to skip taking the calipers off the bracket. And I'm gonna try to just remove the bracket by itself. This might be a little tricky for me because I don't have it would be best to have a head that could swivel. This, see, it doesn't swivel, the head doesn't move. So it might be a little tight for me, but I'm gonna attempt to do this. So I gotta find the bracket bolts. There they are. Yeah, this is too long maybe, because I can't jack the car up high enough. All right, this is already, we're hitting a little bit of a snag here. I know, I have a busted, a while back when I had the PT Cruiser, and I left it on by accident. You never leave a torque wrench on. So I ruined it. That's why I had to buy another torque wrench. So I'm gonna use this as a wrench. Might as well, it's already damaged. This will fit, probably. Barely. Barely. I need some leverage. This is where, let me put extension on it. I don't have room. This is gonna get tricky real quick. All right, next plan. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it with this little teeny socket. I might even break it. But I'm gonna try. Oh, please don't break. This is a nice socket. I was afraid of that. I tell you what. Let's go. I'm gonna go here. Another thing I forgot. Some mechanics say, we'll try this first. Some mechanics say to remove this cotter pin and this, and loosen the nut, the hub nut, loosen up a little bit, and then we're gonna tap it. We're gonna tap this a little bit just to try to give us a little more room on the bolts in the back. See if that works. All right, so I removed the cotter pin in this little ring, which really did not need to be replaced. It's fine, but whatever. And now I'm gonna use the braking bar and a crowbar, and I'm gonna loosen up the wheel hub a little bit. A little short, but hopefully it'll work. What's gonna happen is it's gonna turn a little bit and it's gonna hit this thing, hopefully. Right now it's not a good angle. Hopefully that'll work. So, hang on, let me get the other. This way I don't have to, like this, okay. So, this is going, okay, here we go. Lefty loosey, right? There we go. That's why they call it a braking bar. Broke it free. All right. So we're gonna loosen this up. but I'm not gonna take it all the way off yet. And that's exactly what this thing was for. That worked good. All right. Now that I did that, I'll take my mallet and this wood. I'm gonna use this piece of wood and I'm gonna tap just a little bit on the axle. So the reason why is you never want to hit this and damage the threads on this thing ever. So you have to be really careful with that. Now let's try this again. I'm going to spray some bolt cleaner or some lubricant on the bolts here. You know what? I'm going to use my mallet. I'm going to see if I can just do it that way. They're all night. This is such the wrong tool to be using. Not the mallet, the small little wrench. I have no leverage. I'm not sure this is gonna work. All right, I'll try this again, guys. There's just not enough room for this wrench. I'm not sure what I can do here. The braking bar is too long too. Guess I wanted to buy a bigger. There's another thing though. Over here in Japan, it's really hard to find a bigger socket wrench. There wasn't anything bigger than that really. Are you recording?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing everything I can here. Without the right tools, man, it does make it a little tricky, guys. Definitely have the right tools. The leverage just isn't there. Tell you what, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna remove the brake calipers. Maybe that'll give me more room to work with. So let's go.
To do it?
You don't have to. A lot of people skip it, but I'm gonna do it because maybe there's some I don't know. The guy knew what he was doing, maybe. So let's try this. Once again, I still don't have the best tool. There we go. Oh, you know what, guys? I'm backwards, so I was going righty-tighty, wasn't I? I should be doing it this direction. Yeah.
Oh. This one too, the big one too?
Yeah, the big one too over here.
Oh.
I was going the wrong direction. No wonder it wasn't coming on.
You're tightening it.
Yeah, I was tightening it because I was in reverse. Somebody probably was screaming at one of you guys is screaming at the computer screen or TV screen right now. Where's your telephone? You idiot! Yeah, I am. Yeah, you nailed it.
So you're still doing that?
Now I'm taking, yeah, I'm gonna, might as well, I already loosened it. I'm gonna take
None.
So when you're facing the thing, it's backwards. It's righty loosey. Just so you know, guys.
Yeah, duh.
Probably they are. They're probably saying duh right now. Don't even need a live stream to know what they're saying. All right, so I'm moving the bolts for this. All right. And that's where the hook. Can you hand me the hook?
Oh, coming.
And this is where the hook comes in.
Oh.
So I'm gonna take the calipers off, and I'm just gonna hang them on the hook. You son of a gun. Hang on. Take the rubber thing off if your hook is a little too thick. Can you do it? I can't do it with my gloves on. I'll use my pliers. This is all real time, guys. I've never done this before. Not a big deal. Just once in a while you're gonna run into complications like this. So take the little rubber head off, and now the calipers will go on no problem. You don't want them hanging off the brake line. You'll damage it. So you put them through the hole here. If I can see what I'm doing here. All right. Put it through the hole, and then just hang it. Just hang it like that. It's in the way. Hang it somewhere else so it's not in the way. That's better. And now I can remove the bracket, hopefully.
Curious.
Yeah. All right, let's try this again. So, go to the right.
That way.
Yeah, go to the right. Oops, wrong one. Go to the right. This is where you don't want to strip this bolt. So you want to use the right tools, guys. But I'm in the middle of this now. I gotta make this work. I'm gonna line my body. Jeez. I'm gonna line my body over here and try to push. If this bolt's stripped in any kind of way, I'm gonna have to replace it. We really need the right tools, guys. Can't stress that enough. I'm getting a little frustrated here. And still these calipers in my way. They all say just hang them up out of the way. I've got them up as high as I can. I guess I got too long of a hook. Let's see. I can't. The brake line is too short. There. There we go. Not enough leverage. Oh. Let's do some more spray. Spray those bolts some more with some lubricant. Guys, I'm getting a little frustrated here. But I was watching videos with professionals, and it never goes 100% to plan with any of them. Bolts break off. These were with professionals and stuff. Things like this happen. Just have to be patient. Just be patient.
What do you need? Okay.
It's also getting hot out here, guys. Man, that's on tight. All right, this is what I did. I turned the wheel all the way to the right, so now we can see the bolts. It's this bolt and this bolt I'm working on. These two bolts. Maybe I have a little bit better clearance now. I have a better angle, hopefully. Maybe I can get this done. I don't know. We're gonna try. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna have to go look for a better, little longer handle wrench for better leverage. All right, sorry guys, I screwed up. I had the phone in my pocket. I popped this thing in, sure enough, I had better leverage, and it came loose. So the top bolt's done. Let's work on the bottom one next. All right, same thing with the bottom one. And there, that's all it took, was the leverage. So turn your wheels to the right, that'll help a lot. Now I can use a smaller wrench to get the bolts off. Okay. So let's do this. Oops, wrong one. Oopsie. All right. There we go. Now I'm going to take the bottom one all the way out, and I'm going to leave the top one in just for a second so it doesn't fall. Oh, that's a tray. That's what your bolt looks like. That's what the bolt looks like. That's a 19 milli. All right, now holding on to the bracket, take the other bolt out. Later on, before I put this all back together, I'm gonna use brake cleaner and clean all the bolts and everything. All right, there that goes. You don't even have to really remove it all the way, because you just loosen it up enough, and then the rotor will come out. In fact, I'm gonna put it back in because I don't want these brake pads popping off. All right, take this out. Take the center axle nut off. And then you can pull the rotor off. Take it out a little bit. There we go. A little heavy. Find a good spot to put it. Do not drop it. You'll damage it. So you gotta be really gentle with this thing.
Oh, come on.
Get off my glove. All right, next one is the 17. We need to do the 17 millimeter bolts. There's 4 of them. Let me see. I'll use my GoPro to show you guys. Even for me. Right here. Right there. And right there. Yeah, and then our side. All right, welcome back. I had to take a break after all that. My back's killing me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to loosen these 2 bolts on this side. It might not work so easily, but I'm going to do my best I can. I don't know how we're going to reach it. Hopefully an extension will make it possible to remove these 2 bolts. And so what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to, oh, I need to put my gloves back on. I was sweating so hard I had to take the gloves off. It's hot today, guys. Where's my box of gloves? Over here. Keep going. Don't fall. All right, so I have to get a new pair of gloves because I sweated so hard in other ones. It's really gross when you take the gloves off. When it's hot, when it's this hot, you take the gloves off. It's just nasty. It's like you're playing in the pool or something. You have a lot of water in there. It's just sweat. These things don't breathe. All right, so got the gloves on. All right. That's a 19. Yeah, that's 19. Don't need that anymore. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the axle nut, the center nut back on. About to there. Before I tackle this. All right. Here goes nothing, guys. Wish me luck. Where are they? I definitely do need an extension, don't I? I definitely need an extension. You're gonna want an extension because there's a lot of stuff in the way. I'm gonna pop it on the bolt before I pop the wrench on. I can't see a dang thing I'm doing. I think I got it on there. Not a lot of room to work it. You definitely want a wrench with a swivel head. They'll make your life so much better. And I didn't do that because those are 80 to 100 bucks for the cheap ones over here. Probably the same in America. Snap-on is ridiculously expensive. Okay, next plan. I do have a little bit longer 17 here. This came with the torque wrench, and it might just be the right length by itself. So let's give this a try. Might be too wide though to fit in here. Oh boy. This is why you need the right tool for the right job, right guys? I'm trying to do this on a budget. There's no way that's gonna fit in there. No. This is too fat. Ah! I have another 17. Long and skinny. Let me see if I can find that. All right. Have to use a smaller wrench with this, but these are long, but they're skinny. This might work. Let's give it a shot. So righty loosey in this situation. Look at that. Once again, it's my fault. I don't have a longer handle wrench. That worked. Uh-oh. Don't tell me I just stripped it. Oh, no. I honestly can't see what I'm doing now. There's a bolt that's somewhat stripped on the back, and I can't even see what I'm doing, and I don't want to make it worse. So I'm actually going to put everything back together again. If I had an impact wrench, everybody uses an impact wrench. I don't have an impact wrench. If I buy an impact wrench, it ruins the whole budget. But it looks like I'm going to ruin the budget anyways, because now I have to take it over. I'm going to take it over to Nissan and see if they can remove this. I still want to do the other side, but I'm a little bit nervous because these bolts are in there tight, and I don't have the right tools. I don't want to strip any other bolts. So what I could do is ask them just to loosen the bolts and then put them back on, so then I can take them off easily enough. Maybe they'll go for that. What do you think? You think they might do that? They have impact wrench. If I say, can you loosen all the bolts and put them back in? If they take them out once and put them back in, it should come off easy for me.
You're gonna work there?
No, but I'll bring it back home and I'll try again. Have to start all over again. But I won't start over for you guys. I'll pick up where I left off from here. All right. Talk more later. Bye. I just got back from the place where I bought the car from. That's where I took it. Nissan was just too booked. I couldn't go back there. All I wanted to do was lift it up on a lift so I could see the condition of the bolt that I was afraid I stripped. Turns out I did not strip it. Turns out the bolt millimeter size I got off the internet was incorrect. Those are not 17 millimeter bolts on the wheel hub, the bearing hub that connects to the knuckle. Those are 16 millimeters. So that's why I felt like I stripped it. And I'm glad I stopped though, because I could have done some damage if I kept trying to use a 17 millimeter socket on it. So I'm glad I did stop. I'm glad I did take it somewhere. But as you can tell, I'm a little bit upset. And I am upset partially because I got dehydrated, so I have a really massive headache. It was really hot earlier. Thank goodness we have overcast now. It feels much better. But it was really hot earlier, and now I have a headache. But also, when they got those bolts off, because they had the right tools, and even with those right tools, they struggled, but they got the bolts off, the four 16 millimeter hub bolts. When they got them off, they told me to go sit down, and they're gonna just do the whole thing. I told them I wanted to do it, and they said, no, it'd just be better if we do it ourselves. And the reason why is because I bought this from them, and it is technically under a warranty, and they don't want to pay for the parts, so they felt like they'll do the labor, because the labor at Nissan is $500 labor, so they thought, well, we'll do the labor, it's worth more than the parts anyways, and that's what they did. They put it all together. I was really upset. I'm really upset, because I could take it all apart and show you guys, but like they already used my brand new cotter pins, so now I have to buy new cotter pins, because technically you're not supposed to reuse a cotter pin. I don't know, I'm thinking maybe I don't care for one side. A lot of mechanics say you reuse cotter pins anyways. Everybody says not to, but I've seen even Scotty Kilmer's reused cotter pins, I think. I think, maybe not, but I'm very upset. So I'm thinking right now, I'm gonna lift it up and I'm gonna try it, because they over-torqued everything. What's that about? Why even use a torque wrench if you're just gonna over-torque everything? I had the torque measurements. I got the torque specs. Of course, maybe those are wrong too if I got the wrong millimeter size off the internet, but I got the torque specs, and they just over-torqued everything. Well, for example, the axle nut, the big one, the 32 millimeter nut, that one I had it was 114 Newton meters. No, 144 Newton meters, which is pretty strong. It's over 200 foot-pounds, I think it is. And the guy said that's not strong enough. It's usually much higher. And so he did 220 Newton meters. That's even bigger than my torque wrench only goes up to 200 Newton meters. So he went to 220 with his torque wrench. I honestly think that's what I got was correct. But I could be wrong, I suppose. I'm not really trusting myself too much anymore, because the bolts were the wrong size. That really shocked me. So what he had is he put the 16 millimeter for right away. That part was okay. And then what he had is exactly what I was looking for. I need a ratchet wrench, about this long. I don't know how to explain it. A pretty long ratchet wrench for leverage. And also it had a head that can move. So it's got a joint on it, so the head can move like that, so you can come at an angle. And that's what you need for tight situations like this. Unless you have it jacked all the way over your head and you can work from underneath and going down below, you might not need it. But when you're working when working at this angle, you have to work from the top. You can't work from the bottom, obviously, because the street's right there. So you're working from the top, and so you don't have much room to move around because you got the fenders in the way. And so, yeah, so in our situation, that kind of ratchet comes in handy. Unfortunately, that kind of ratchet is over $200 over here. The cheapest one I found was $250, roughly. It's a snap-on, but that's the correct size and everything, so that's the best one to get. I went all over. I found something similar for $170 at what they call Super Autobacks, but it was not as big. It wasn't as thick, and it wasn't as long. And I don't know if the way that guy torqued those nuts back on, those bolts back on to the wheel bearing hubs. I don't know if that would have been enough. I think the snap-on, you need something, you just need the right leverage, guys. Because even with the right leverage, that guy really struggled with those bolts. They're in a bad location. The CV joint is right next to him, and you push the axle in. I was showing you guys. You push the axle in to move the CV joint out of the way, but it's still tight, and so you don't have a lot of room to work with. And that guy struggled to get those 16-millimeter bolts out, but he got them. He got the 16-millimeter bolts out. And when he got those out, the other thing that was supposedly the hard part was taking the bearing hub off the knuckle, because the knuckle is aluminum, the bearing hub is steel, and they corrode. When they mix together, they get corrosion, and it's like welded on. And you usually have to hammer for a long time to get those things to come off. They just popped right off. I don't understand that. It just came right off. It turned out it was the nuts, the bolts that nobody ever said. All these videos I watched to get myself ready for this project, nobody ever said anything about those bolts being hard. They said it was you need to push the CV joint out of the way and use an extension, but they never said it was going to be really hard to pull them off. And they all made it look so easy. But I watched that guy. He was straining. He was having a hard time. And then he did the same thing. Because they were so tight, he put them on just as tight when he put them back on. He really, really torqued them on. And so I don't know. I'm going to try to get them back off because I want them to have the correct torque specs. Same time, do I have the correct torque specs? I got the wrong millimeter size for the bolts. Maybe I have the wrong torque specs for everything. I couldn't even get the torque specs on everything. I don't know the torque specs on the calipers. To put the calipers back on, I have no idea what torque it's supposed to be. I'm just going to put them on as tight as possible. So, all right. Talk more. Okay, a little bit of update. I'm working on the calipers right now. The calipers are coming off much easier. So I'm doing these are 19 millis. I think 19 millimeter bolts. 19 millimeter bolts right here. And what I like to do is I'll put one lug nut back on the wheel so the rotor won't fall off or anything like that while I'm working with the caliper. This time I didn't have to take the brakes off the calipers, so they should slide right off, hopefully. I noticed when the guy was putting them back on, it was a little bit of a chore to put them back on because the brakes aren't not too well separated. If you want to, you can use a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and try to separate them a little bit before you pull them off. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it the way it is and keep going from there. Okay. Took the bolts off. These are the bolts. And after you take them off, it'd be a good idea to clean them. Clean them up, and also clean using this stuff, brake cleaner, brake and parts cleaner. Clean these off. Also clean the hole for the go. Sorry. Okay, clean that up, and then also spray the heck out of these as well. Hard to do with the camera, one hand in the camera. Clean these puppies up. Yeah, that's good. Good enough with one hand. All right, now we're ready to pull off the lug nut and remove let's straighten the wheel out. Remove the rotor. Make sure you don't touch the rotor with greasy hands as much as possible, and make sure you clean it really good and dry it off before you put it back on, so there's absolutely no grease on the rotor. Otherwise, you're gonna have squeaky brakes. Got the rotor off here, as you can see. Already, what is that? That better be grease. Better be some kind of grease they put on. There's my brand new hub bearing, and there's the dust shield, and there's the bolts to the hub bearing. I need to take the cotter pin out, this little cover, nut cover, and a nut. I need to take the nut off. Before I do that though, I want to take the ABS sensor out. Right there, we're gonna take the ABS sensor out. So, sorry for the filming, like I said, or maybe I didn't say it in this shot. I lost my cinematographer, so I'm doing everything on my own. So, I'm gonna turn the camera off, and I'm gonna turn the wheel and take the ABS sensor out. And what you need for that is a 10 milli. That's the wrong thing. A 10 milli to go on that puppy, and you can take it off. Make sure you take this off first before you pull the hub out, or it'll snap off the sensor and you're in bad shape. I got it off. It was very easy to take off. There's your sensor. I think I'm going to clean it. They didn't even clean it like those other guys, so I'm going to clean it before I put it back on. Now the hard part, because these bolts, you can see the knuckle here is blocking the bolt. The bolt's right back here, and when the car is at this height and everything, it's almost impossible. Oh wait, I have to take this off first, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this off a little bit, and we're gonna push this in to push we want to push the CV joint knuckle. We want to push it out of the way. So I have to take this nut halfway off at least. What they want. So what I would do is I'll put the crowbar here so the hub bearing won't move. So I can do that like that. Now I'm gonna move the center and hub nut out to about here, and then I'm gonna push in the axle by hammering it just a little bit like that, and hopefully the CV joint will be out of the way far enough to reach the bolts behind. Okay, I hope you guys understood that. So never hammer, especially the metal hammer, directly onto the axle itself. Leave the nut on. Even a lot of people say don't even do that, but I have a rubber mallet. It should be okay. I'm not hammering as hard as I can. It's probably okay. And yeah, let's do this. This stage is getting better and better. Okay, remember I said it was a 16 millimeter bolt? Well, one thing I found out is I guess it's not a very common size. Out of all my tools, wrenches and sockets and everything, I don't have a 16 millimeter. I'm not gonna go out and buy one for this. They took it off already, okay? It came right off. It didn't need the mallet. The mallet was not necessary. These things came right off on the e-NV. I've given you the correct specifications. It's 16 millimeter bolt. Hard to reach. You're gonna need an extension. You're gonna need this, and you're gonna need a 16 millimeter go here, and you're gonna pop it on here behind the knuckle and take it off. Okay, so put that behind the knuckle and torque it off. All right, and it will come once you take the bolts out. The hub, at least on this car, it came right off. Didn't need any pounding. And then we just put the new hub back on. You just reverse this procedure. Make sure you have, one thing you have to watch out for is make sure you have the dust plate here that's going to come off too. Make sure you have it facing the right direction, or you will not get your brakes calipers back on. Make sure you know the orientation of which way it needs to go, so you can put the calipers back on the rotor. Okay. All right, let's reverse it. Let's put it all back together now. I'm gonna get a tripod and see if you can. I'll try to get a tripod so you guys can watch me put it back together. Okay, last interruption, I swear. I just want to go over the fact that not only are the hub bearing bolts the wrong size, but just like I was afraid of, the torque specifications are very different on the e-NV from the NV200, and I don't even know why. Even the mechanic, when I had the mechanic look him up at Nissan, even he was kind of surprised. He was like wondering. It shocked him. He was really shocked at the brake calipers. The bracket for the brake calipers is 165 Newton meters, which is ridiculous because he was telling me most cars is 30 or 40 Newton meters. So he was shocked about that. So let's go over this real quick. So the wheel nuts are fine. I got that right. The wheel nuts are 115 Newton meters or 85 foot-pounds for the wheel nuts. Can't think of the name right now. There's another name we call them. Can't think of it right now. The axle nut is only 94 Newton meters. The big center nut. It's only 94 Newton meters or 69 foot-pounds. Like I said, the brake caliper bracket is 165 Newton meters or 122 foot-pounds. And I was right about the hub bolts. The hub bolts were correct. 88 Newton meters or 65 foot-pounds. So there you go. Honestly, I don't know. The numbers are always on the two cars are so similar and the numbers are so different. I'm starting to wonder about this torque specification. I think a lot of it's just baloney. Phony baloney, just make it sound like they know what they're talking about. I don't know. I think just put it on tight. That's what I think. Just put it on tight. Don't worry about those torque specifications so much. This is crazy. So I got those when I went and got my cotter pins. So I wanted to make sure. I'm glad I double checked when I picked up my new cotter pins. I'm glad I double checked that. All right. I want to apologize for the length of the video, but you know I thought about that at the beginning. Should I do the left side first before I shoot the video so it'll go a little smoother? But I thought no. I want this raw. I want this real time. I want you guys to see a guy that's never done this before and see how it goes. And then, you know, it was going pretty good. I mean, it was going what I expected. I was making, you know, mistakes, especially was the hilarious. The best one was me turning the wrench the wrong direction. It took me forever to figure that one out. But yeah, those kind of mistakes a person's gonna make if they've never done this before. Now, just doing it once now at that garage, I was helping those guys. When I took that tire off again, when I took the wheel off again and everything, it was much smoother, as you can see. So I'm glad I did do it raw. It just, it made the time longer. I apologize for that. I just want to say, you can do it. It's not complicated. It really isn't. You can have some things thrown at you. Nothing ever works perfectly when you're working with cars, automobiles. Some kind of thing always kind of happens usually. Sometimes no. Sometimes you have it smooth. But usually something's going to happen. But just take a deep breath and just, you know, have some patience and you'll get through it. So don't be afraid of trying to do this yourself. All right, I'll see you at the end with the wrap up. And yeah, let's get back to it. Not sure how much you can see here, but we'll make do what we got. Okay. Let's go to the torque specifications. All right. So when you're putting it back together, you're going to need, for the hub bolts, these hub bolts that are behind the knuckle here, you're going to need to give it about 65 foot-pounds of pressure, or 88 Newton meters of torque. And I know that guy did way over that. He's easily over 150 Newton meters, it looks like to me, the way he was torquing it on. I did find one 16 millimeter wrench, but it's about this size, and if he torqued it, first of all, you can't even fit. It won't even fit in here, so it's not possible to do it. That's fine. This wheel nut, when you put it back on, you need 85 foot-pounds. I'm sorry, not wheel nut, axle nut. You need 105 foot-pounds of torque for this, or 143 Newton meters. Now, once again, I'm not super confident in that because that guy was pretty adamant that ain't gonna work. So, yeah. In the meantime, let's just tighten it up to the best of our ability right here. It's gonna pull the axle back out. And a hand tighten to the best of your ability. There we go. Okay, that's good for now. And then let's, while the wheels turn to the right, let's return the sensor. Put the sensor back. And all right. So you just slide it in like so, and I put the bolt here. Let's clean that real quick. Clean everything. Clean that. Oh, I was gonna clean the sensor, wasn't I? Let's clean the sensor real quick. Get a towel. Dry off the excess. Hopefully I didn't damage it. I don't know if I was okay to clean it, but I wanted to. And damn it, I'm gonna clean it. We'll find out. I'll do a DTC later on and see if my ABS is still showing up. I mean, I'm not showing up. Like it's coming out okay. If you have a DTS show up, that's when it's not okay. All right, let's tighten it on, but let's not put it on too tight because these bolts are easy to break apparently. Ding. Right, about there. Let's turn the wheel to the right side. Correct it, straighten it out. Okay. Let's put the crowbar back in the other direction. Like so. Like so. And that way. Good job. YouTube. so, that way with the crowbar there, you can tighten it. And for the wheel nut, or the axle nut, like I said, it's 105 foot-pounds of pressure or 143 Newton meters. Now, this is where I was talking about. I get really angry. This is why I want to make the video too. I get really angry when I see people use these torque wrenches. A lot of them, including the pros, they do it wrong. Like I was watching this one lady, she was doing a wheel hub bearing replacement on a Murano, and she did a great job until she got to this. It turns out a lot of people don't know how to use these right. So, so the first thing you have to do is you only do one click. You never torque more, because every time you do that, it is moving the bolt a little more. You're over torquing. Not a lot, but you are over torquing. Every time you go click, 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 if you do it more than one time. If you want to do 2 times, and this is actually what most people, the manufacturers recommend, is you should start halfway. So this is 105 foot-pounds, so 50. Do 50 foot-pounds first. Then move it up to 105 foot-pounds and do it again. I have 143, so I'm going to do 70. I'm going to start off with 70 Newton meters. And like I said, I am not confident anymore about these numbers I've got. So I am definitely going to take it to my dealer and ask them for the specs, and then I'll double check. And if I am wrong, I'll tighten it up. It's not a big deal to tighten it up. It is 105 foot-pounds is pretty strong. I don't know. It could be right. And then again, I could be completely wrong. Maybe the other guy was right. Maybe it is 220 Newton meters, not foot-pounds, 220 Newton meters. All right, so let's do this. Righty-tighty. I have it set for 70 right now, so it should be fairly easy to click it. Yeah, there it goes. That's 70. Now I'm going to move it up to 140. No, sorry, 143. So what you do is you get to the 140 mark. I don't know how well you're going to see it. You get to the 140 line on this meter here, and you see all these numbers here, and then you put it to the 3, and that's 143. Such a weird number, isn't it, guys? Engineers. Yeah. All right, I'm at the 140 mark. Was that the 150? I'm at 143. There's 143 Newton meters. Sometimes these things are kind of hard to see. All right, here we go. That's it. Now it's torque to specification. You never double click, never double torque it. You know, double click it, click. You'll over torque. If you're looking for like perfect torque measurements, and if you want to be, the most important thing is just to be uniform. have the same torque on all the bolts. That's the most important thing. Then also, you don't want to go over too much. That wouldn't be good, and under would be no good as well. Yeah, so now we return the cotter pin. Okay, I messed up the cotter pin really bad when I pulled out, so it might be a little bit of a pain in the butt to put it back in. Now, remember I told you, you're not supposed to reuse the cotter pin. This is a brand new cotter pin, but it was bent and I put it, so it's kind of ruined. Once again, when I go to Nissan to get my torque specs on this axle nut, I will also order, or they probably have these lying around. These are really cheap and easy to find. I'll just pick up another cotter pin and replace this. But for now, it'll be okay. Get in there. There we go. And then you just use something like a cutter, these cutters, to bend it out of the way. This particular cotter pin just has one of these things to move out of the way. Some cotter pins have two. You have to do it twice, so this one's just one. This is exactly why I messed up last time. These aren't working. All right. Let's see if I can. Ouch! Careful not to hit yourself. Have something. Try my needle nose. Bend it up better. Come on. Honestly. This is my first cotter pin, so I'm probably just really messing this up really good. Why don't you want to bend more? Yep. Pain in the butt. This thing's so short. Hammer time. There we go. Good enough, because I'm going to probably replace it anyways. I'll have them do it. I'm so messed up. I don't know how easy. It's going to be a pain in the butt to pull that thing out. It's like kick, kick, kick. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, guess what? Son of a gun. I'm going to be doing that today. All right, I'm going to save this. This is important, kinda. Nah, not really. But I'll put it on when I get the new cotter pin. And I guess I'll be doing it myself actually today. Okie dokie. All right, got that on. Let's put the caliper back on. That's the tricky one, kinda. Lining up by yourself with no help. Get this hammer. Hammer time. Get this hammer out of the way. I have a bad headache, guys. I have a really bad headache, so my brain is kind of a little bit fried. So I apologize for the mistake I made. That's a kind of a dumb mistake. Don't do that. Don't do what I did. Learn from my stupid mistakes. All right, so let's take this. Turn the wheel. Try not to touch the rotor with your hands. Oh, maybe I'm okay. Oh, I'm okay. Good deal, I'm okay. Pop the rotor on. Let's put one nut on it to hold it. All right. So pop the rotor on. Put one lug nut on to hold it in place while you try to put these calipers back on. Try not to touch it, but also just clean it off again when you're done putting it back on. Don't get your gloves stuck in it. Yeah, it is kind of a pain in the butt, isn't it? you're doing. There we go. There we go, we're getting somewhere. Get behind so we can see what we're doing here. Okay. Oh, hang on, guys. The car's coming. Okay. Line it up. So the bolt will go in. Might take some coaxing till you find the right spot. Found this one. And of course, don't tighten it all the way up. This bottom one, don't tighten it too tight. That way you have room to maneuver the top one around until you find the bolt hole for that. And then you can tighten them up to torque specifications. Okay. Grab the other bolt. Should be fairly easy to go in now. As soon as you get the bottom one in, the top one should go pretty easy, hopefully. Yes. Got it. And I said those are 17s, right? Or no, 19s. Let me see. $19. I was right, 19. I was wrong. I just said 17. These are 19s. Do I have my 19? I should. Yeah. There it is. See how useful that is to leave that in? It really does make it easy when you're by yourself. It's like an extra set of hands to have that lug nut on there to hold the rotor in place while you finagle this thing back on. Okay, that's one big car. Our neighbor has a Ford Explorer. That thing's huge. It almost ran over my head one time. I was working on my motorcycle because I was over there and I was laying down and it was night and she didn't see me. Oops. Can't see what I'm doing here. Anyways, I was laying down, it was dark. She couldn't see me. And all of a sudden the tire, these big 21-inch wheels come right up to my head. I scooted out of the way, I rolled and scooted and yelled an expletive many times. And it got her attention enough, and I can't see what I'm doing. And she stopped before she ran over my head. I had this one in, I accidentally just took it out, I think. Maybe the mount will come in handy. I did do this before when I was putting them on. some reason it's not lining up here. Oh, definitely remove your hook before you start driving away. Take your hook off that was holding the calipers. Why aren't you lining up? I had you on. Why aren't you going back in as easy as you did before? Do I have to loosen this up a bit? Let's loosen this up a bit. That's weird. There we go. Come on. I know that's right. Haha! Success! Now, don't take it off by accident. I gotta get out of here. Neck cramp, neck cramp. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Let's put this thing back in. And then we're gonna torque to the specifications. Hub bolts, 65 foot-pound. Oh wait, these aren't hub bolts, what I'm talking about. I don't have, that's right, I was looking for the specs on this. I don't know the specs on the calipers. If you guys know, if you do this, look for the specs. I had the hardest time finding this little bit of specs I got. Like I told you, I'm not very confident anymore about the specs I got. So definitely do your homework and look into it. Maybe just contact your local dealer. They should be able to tell you. So in that case, I'm just gonna tighten the best of my ability. I think I'll set my torque wrench. I'm gonna do at least 185 foot-pounds at least, probably more. So I'm gonna do 100 and I'm gonna do 143 Newton meters. Same as the axle nut. I'm gonna do 143. I think that's, I need it strong. Maybe even stronger. This torque wrench only goes to, I believe, 190 roughly. So on Newton meters, 179 foot-pounds. What am I gonna do? I'll do it the way I'm doing it right now. Like I said, I'm gonna go to Nissan anyways. I need a new cotter pin. So when I'm there, I'll ask. They're not the nicest people right now. They're a little mad that I didn't take them up on the offer to repair my car for $800. Pisses them off I did it myself. Yeah, I got set for 70 right now. Whoa! That was not pretty. Those big B's are deadly to some people. All right, so let's torque it. Well, let's see if I turn the wheel some more. That's as far as it's gonna go. Hopefully the torque wrench will fit. What? Don't mind the retard. All right, that's 70 on that one. Let's do the other bolt down below. All right, 70 on that. Now let's go to, hell, let's go to 160 foot-pounds. I mean, 160 Newton meters. Let's do that. 160. That's pretty strong. Oh, it's strong. There we go. No room to work here. Let's go down. There we go. Just one click will do, you guys. One click. Okay. We're ready. Technically, even though I forgot to put this back on. But for now, we're ready to put the wheel back on. I'm gonna go over to Nissan anyways, get my torque settings corrected, and a new cotter pin anyways. I gotta get a cotter pin because I took the brand new one off. So there you go. By the way, oh, hang on. By the way, those guys might not let me do the repair myself on the hub bearings, but after I got everything put together this morning and drove over there, the clicking, the tick, 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 all that clicking noises that were driving me crazy, they were gone. So I did take care of that. I'm thinking it was when I was lubricating everything, cleaning and lubricating, it must have taken care of the click. Also, maybe when I was tapping this, it might have been the axle, the CV joint was somehow loose or something. I tapped it to made it tight again, but the clicking is gone nonetheless. The clicking is gone. All right, straighten the wheel, put the tire back on. Or straighten the steering wheel. Hang on a second. Straighten this puppy back out. Bum, bum, bum. I'm getting cramps. I'm so dehydrated, I'm starting to cramp up now. I haven't eaten. I haven't drank enough today. Things I do for YouTube. Oh, by the way, take the lug nut off before you put your tire back on. I'm not even gonna edit that out because that's just so freaking funny. That's pretty hilarious. All right, let's pop this bad boy back on and head to Nissan. Son of a gun. The cramp is making me, I can't barely move my leg, it's cramping up so bad. All right. All right, next thing we need to do is to lower, oh, come on, man. Man, I'm getting tired. Gosh, dang it. Is to lower the car so we can finish tightening up the lug nuts. And go to Nissan and get a cotter pin. Lovely. They're so happy with me right now. It's gonna be a lot of fun to visit them. All right. Let's ease it down as slowly as possible. This jack. This jack, I was about to say, it doesn't make it possible. All right. That was funny too. So the wheel nuts, I need 85 foot-pounds, 115 newton meters for the wheel nuts. All right. So I'm gonna go 50 No, it's just 50. I'm gonna start with 50. Let's see. I'm gonna start with 50, and I'll do the second time. I'll do the second one at 110 Newton meters. So 50 first, and then 110 for Newton meters. Do it in a star pattern, just like you were taught by your mom or dad. I should tighten this. That thing slipped. Lock your handle. All right, so that's 50. Let's push up to 115 now. All right, there's 115. Oops, did I do 2 clicks by accident? I don't think I did. It's 2. Lock it. Okay, what did I just do? This one and this one, right? Let's go here. We'll find out when I... Alright, that one. Now this one. Now this one. Alright, that should do it. I did do this one, right guys? I don't want to over torque, but because I was moving around. I had to change this thing. Yeah, I did. I'll just check the video. Okay. Alright. Okay. And that's how you do it. In a nutshell. Sorry, I couldn't actually take the hub bearing off because I don't have a 16 millimeter nut. Remember guys, 16 millimeter nut for the, socket. 16 millimeter socket for the bolts on the hub bearings, okay? On the e-NV it's 16, not 17. 16 for the e-NV, all right? All right, I'll talk more in a few minutes, or I'll talk more later. All right guys, for all of you that are wondering, did all that work we just went through to fix our car? Well, I'll play a little video right now from before we did the repairs. It's dark and it's kind of noisy. It was a Friday night, so a lot of traffic, but you can still, the wheel bearing noise does still come through. You'll hear it. And then we'll compare it with what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to accelerate on the street here, and you guys can make your decision. But you know, to the point, yeah, it's fixed. This car is like super quiet now, and like I said, I inadvertently clicked fixed the clicking. That noise it makes whenever you like start to step on the brake or hit the accelerator, it's all gone, as you can tell. And so that's awesome. That's a bigger deal to me than the wheel bearing noise almost. It was so annoying, like click. We should attempt. Right turns, it really picks up. When I turn the handle to the right, you can really hear it. Here comes another right turn. Remember I told you, make sure the cotter pins are tight, otherwise they'll jingle and it'll drive you crazy. And the Nissan guy that did my cotter pin for me, he didn't put it on tight enough, so it's kind of jingling away, jingle. It's a little annoying, but it's not terrible. All right, when I get past these guys, get ready for the test. And like I said, nothing! No. noise. Awesome. So let me tell you guys, straight up, buy used. You can find a really good deal on a used EV, and maybe it just needs like in our situation, $400 worth of work, which is less than an oil change for a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW. You can get yourself a brand new like car for next to nothing. Don't overlook used EVs, guys, or used cars in general. All right? You can do it yourself. You got it. You can do it yourself. Have faith in yourself, and you can do this. It's fun too. All right. Thanks for watching.